Welcome to the day one highlights of CoinDCX Chess Super League. It was a day filled with a lot of action. Let's get started. In the first match between Crazy Knights and Quintessential Queens, Crazy Knights won and have the match between Hikaru Nakamura and Koneru Hampi. In the first match, Hikaru played knight f3 followed by b3 and then got into a slow reti. In this position, after rook d8, he found a way to play against the isolated queen pawn after cd5. He then put his bishop on d4 to blockade the pawn, and then in a few moves he managed to win the d5 pawn with a nice combination. Here he played knight takes d5, which is a good move because there's no way to win the piece. For instance, if black plays bishop d5, there is rook c8 followed by bishop d5, and rook d8 is not possible here because of bishop takes f7 followed by queen d8. So after bishop d5, knight d5, queen d5, it was a healthy pawn up, and then in a few moves he saw that he could win the f7 or the a7, and this ending is winning. So this was a very important win for the Crazy Knights. Then we have the game between Maria Muzichuk and Hao Yifan, and in the post-match interview, Maria Muzichuk said that e5 was probably a move that gave White a lot of chances because White was able to plant the knight on f5. This was very good. And after b4, the pawn on b4 became a hook for White to further expand on. So it was a very good position for White. I must definitely point out this position after rook a8. Here Maria Muzichuk found b4 followed by a very nice move again. Just giving you a few seconds to see if you can spot the brilliant continuation. The move here is bishop takes e5, and the point is that if black takes the bishop, which she did, there is knight e7 followed by d6, and you can see that the rook is also hanging. If the black queen supports the rook with queen d8, there is bishop takes a8 followed by rook takes e5, and first point is that the king is alone, and the second point is that this pawn on d6 is very close to promotion. These two factors show that White is better, and then White not only managed to generate an attack in this game from the beginning, but also managed to keep a clear and fine edge until the very end and won the game. For instance, in a few moves the queens were exchanged, and this is an endgame where these two pawns are very strong, and Maria Muzichuk won the game. Then in the game between Tanya Sachdeva and Marianne Gomes, Tanya went wrong in this position after rook e1, knight d3, rook e3, queen c5. And in this position after f5, she blundered with knight takes c4. She was probably relying on queen takes c4 so that White has queen d3. But her opponent just played fe4, Marianne Gomes. They were both playing in the World Women's Team Championship. They were teammates there, and here they're playing against each other. After fe4, you can't take this knight away because the knight is pinned. And so she played bishop d3, but then after e d3, there is another threat now after queen d5 because White has given up the angel bishop, and so the position immediately collapsed. So that was great for team Crazy Knights. And another moment I think I must show you is the final position between Priyanka and Mrudul. After knight f8, here's the cute opportunity for you to find checkmate in two moves. Congratulations if you found this rook e7 and rook e7 mate. So thus the team won with a score of 4-2. Next we go to the team Ruthless Rooks versus Pivotal Pawns, and in this case Pivotal Pawns won the match with the 3.5, 2.5. So let's take a look at the games. I think Abhijit Gupta was a star for the team because he got a very good position out of the opening and then kept the advantage for a really long time. It had flavors of Queen's Gambit, Nimzo Indian, Queen's Gambit declined, Meran. So, all these varieties you could see. In this position, black played bishop into h2. Not really harmful for White, but it just makes White's edge line a little weak. But Abhijit Gupta brought his queen and made sure that everything is safe on the king side. He was very better for most part of the game, but there came a moment here after bishop f5 where I think black would have actually kept on playing. Here his opponent Karthikeyan Murli played rook e2, which is a mistake. The reason is that with rook e2 white wins another tempo, but if black had played rook e1 and then with knight c3 you want to go for after the g5 pawn, then there's king g7 followed by king h6. White is still better, no doubt. White can try knight d6 and then king g7, and the game can just keep going on. But after bishop f5 rook e2, the game is immediately lost for black, because after knight c3 the rook is attacked, the rook has to move, and then knight e4. This pawn on g5 falls. If g5 falls, that means h4 will also fall. So that was a very good win for Abhijit Gupta. Then came the game between Abdulmalik Zanzai and Harika. So Harika went for Petrov defense, and this is probably her first loss that I have seen after many weeks or months. In this position after queen d2, rook e8 was a novelty, but bishop f5 was played before, and after rook e8, here Zanzaya Abdulmalik used the h6 pawn as a hook to attack. So let me go to that position. She played g4 and then bishop g2 came very soon. The computers don't really like, the engines don't like knight e4. They prefer c5, but this is such a normal looking move, hard to criticize. But after knight e4, rook e4, bishop g2, white is slightly better. And after knight d7, knight d4 and g5, white already has a pawn on g5, and g6 is also possible and still coming. So there was one moment where she played g6, and after fg6 she played knight to e6. Now this is objectively not the best move, but it has some practical value. After fg6, maybe white can just continue with rook e1 and play for the compensation. But here Zanzaya played knight e6, and after rook e6, d6, bishop g2, rook g1. Here Harika had to probably play bishop into h3. She played bishop f3, still okay, but after e7, black had to take queen takes d7. She gave bishop into d1. She gave a bishop for the rook, which looks very obvious, but it has a flaw, and maybe you can spot the flaw. The answer is queen d5 check, and the bishop is no longer on f3, which makes black's task very difficult, because after queen check, king moves, there is bishop g5, and since the queen is keeping an eye on the rook, this queen cannot really take the pawn on d7. So if the queen moves, there is going to be queen a8 anyway, followed by d8 queen, and so Harika tried c6, but after queen c6 she just lost. So that was a great game by Abdulmalik Zanzaya. Then we have the game between Raja Harshit and Arjun Kalyan. I think in this game Arjun showed a lot of maturity in his game. He provoked his opponent to take some committal decisions throughout the game. I really like some of his moves. For example, here he's playing queen c7, keeping the position steady, maintaining the tension, and not really making any committal moves. After queen c2, bishop b7, I like his another move, which is h6. In this position he plays h6. You see, he's not really touching anything in the center, which I think shows that he is waiting for his opponent to make some committal decisions. And after rook e3, bishop f8, he realized his plan of playing on the queen side. He slowly built b5, b4, and then he was better. This was a very convincing win by Arjun Kalyan against Harshit Raja. And then came the game between Savita Shri and Salonika. I think in this position after knight c8, here Saina Salonika, let me just flip the board. Yeah, here this is Savita Shri is white and Saina Salonika was black in this game. And Savita Shri missed a great chance in this position. Maybe you could take a moment. This game is very similar to Anand's game from the Olympiad. I think he had a similar position against Ivanchuk. So in this position, Savita Shri had knight e6 check, and if king h7, there is a cute queen f3, idea queen takes h5. If the king goes to h8 in this position, there is queen f4 followed by knight g5. Very nice tactic. After bishop g5 you first take queen f7, then you take then you play queen f3 back so that you are threatening queen takes h5, and then after bishop g6 there is bishop f5 followed by lethal bishop e6, winning the game for white. But this had to be played purely on intuitive basis. I think knight e6 check is not so easy to spot, but yeah, this was a nice move. But after knight e4, queen g4, Senna Salonika recovered and then eventually went on to win the game. So ruthless rooks scored 2.5, and pivotal pawns they scored 3.5 and won the game. The first board, Raja and Temur Rajabov and Ding Liren they drew the match. Next we have the match between the Kingslayers and the Brutal Bishops, and very appropriate name for Brutal Bishops because they were very brutal in this match. Here I have the first game with Vidit versus Seturaman, where Vidit was white and he played a really clean game. He chose Queen's Gambit, and this is a line that has been extensively played at the elite level. White maintains these pawns on the dark squares, and here black also manages to exchange the light square bishops. White has space and black counts on less number of pieces because black there's a very less material on the board. Black hopes to equalize. That's the whole point of this opening, that white plays for space and black relies on exchanging pieces so that eventually the black team equalizes. So in this position, after all the heavy pieces were exchanged, just queens are left and then two knights versus knight bishop. I would evaluate this position as slightly better for white, but the way Vidit conducted the game made me feel as if white is probably more than slightly better. First he played hg6 and he wants to put the knights in a position where they could land on e5. So you see some maneuvering took place after queen b2 and knight f3. So step 1 is achieved, and step 2 he wants to make sure that this pawn on f6 comes to f5 so that the knights have a square on e5. So that's step 2. You see how he achieves that, and then he's playing with the queen on a8, forcing the queen to come back, and then at one point he will also switch his queen's position. You see, again queen a1, queen c8, queen h1, queen g8. Obviously he was not going to take a draw. That was played just to repeat and gain time because there is increment here. After queen g8, knight e5, he plays d takes e5. Very important to note that he is making square for the knight on d4, for the knight on f3 to come to d4, and then after king e7 he plays queen h6 and then makes sure that the king is safe on e2, and then he now wants to bring this queen here because c6 is weak, and you see that he has done that shuffling, and then after queen a8 he goes knight takes c6 because the queen is overloaded. The b8 bishop cannot be protected any longer, and after that he has already visualized that the king and pawn endgame is lost, so he goes for it and then won the match. So that was Vidit's win. Next we have Nana Zagnidze versus Kostyunik. I think Kostyunik again showed great theoretical preparation. She played bishop g4. She's cleverly keeping the knight on g8 for possible e7 options. You see, this is a clever move order trick, and after knight d7, bishop h5, e6, she's still keeping the knight on g8 because after bishop d6 the knight could also come to e7, and after c4, knight f6, cd, ed, queen b3, queen b6, queen e3, bishop e7. For a moment it looks like black will not be able to castle because the bishop is hanging, but after knight h4, bishop g6, not allowing knight f5, she makes tactical arrangements for the king. After knight f8, f5 is threatened, so she finds the only move in the position, which is bishop c2, and here in case of queen d2 she had bishop e4 in mind, and after f5 she brought back the knight to d7, and after g4 she played h6 preventing g5, and then after b3 she found the opportunity to push the king to safety with castles. The point is that the bishop cannot be taken, as rook e8 followed by queen d4 wins for black. The c3 is also hanging. That is the drawback of pushing the pawn from b2 to b3, you see. So this was all very well calculated by Kostyunyk, and that meant that she had a comfortable position in the middle game. She eventually went on to win the game. I think this was a highlight that dictated the terms in the game. Next, we have the game between Isha Karvade and Soumya Swaminathan. Here, I think in this game, Isha Karvade played a theoretical line in this position after knight e6. Bishop e3 was played by Alexei Sarana, who recently won the World Under 21. But after knight e6, Isha Karvade chose bishop f2. I think that was very smart because she's avoiding d4. And after knight g5, queen d5, queen f6, she played h4. The position is actually very good for black, but here after knight s3, king g2, rook d8, suddenly position started to shift towards white. I think in this position, knight takes f2 was better. The point is after king takes f2, black can play maybe rook d8 and then bring the knight to d4. This was possible. But in the game, after some moves, there came a point where the queen was trapped. So I want to show you that position. Yeah, this is the position here. Isha Karvade played g4 and the queen is trapped. The queen cannot go to d5 because of the fork. The queen cannot go to f4 because the queen is hanging. So thus Isha Karvade won the match. And then there was this game, Tarini Goyal versus Arpita Mukherjee. In this position, Arpita, King's team, she could have won the game for the team with rook e2. The point is, if white plays any more, like say a5, there is rook into e3, and no matter what, the position is lost. After queen check, and then rook e1 is game over. So this move, rook e2, was the winning move for black, which was missed. And after rook c3, white got back into the game with queen f3 and had some compensation. Later they drew the game by perpetual moves. So now let's take a look at the results. Okay, give me a moment. Yeah, so here you can see the results. Yeah. So Crazy Knights won the match against Quintessential Queens, Pivotal Pawns won against Ruthless Rooks, and Brutal Bishops won their match against the Kingslayers. I've already showed you some of the interesting games that I had picked. And at the end of day one, if you look at the standings, then you see Brutal Bishops, Crazy Knights, and Pivotal Pawns are leading. They get 2 points for the match win. And again, day 2 tomorrow, day 2 will be on 12th of October if you're watching on 12th. Again, 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Do follow it on Samay Raina's channel. I hope you like the video. I'll be back with another video soon. Until then, take care. Bye bye.